switch it up, put the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. My eyes done seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. It's time to switch it up, put the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. My eyes done seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help.
Money, money, money. That's all he talks
There's
about.
nothing wrong with being wealthy. Like Kanye West says, having money is not everything, but not having it is. No, Deuteronomy 8:18 says God gives us the ability to create wealth.
Money is the root to all.
No, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil.
I like money. Oh, kid.
Yes, I do think about other things than money. I'm just trying to leave a legacy for my family. Money's not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. And now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor to the working class, Mr. H Cortez.
But at any rate, y'all know the deal, man. There's nothing wrong with building wealth. There's nothing wrong with being wealthy. Money is not the root of all evil. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil, right? I'm just trying to build a legacy for my family. That is the end game for me. I don't know what the end game is for you, but for me, the cycle of poverty ends with me right here. The cycle of poverty ends with me and my ability to put forth solid and consistent effort, my ability to sacrifice some things that I want now so that I can have the ultimate goals later. How many of you guys out there are willing to sacrifice now so that you can have things later? I put a quote up on my wall the other day. If you're not willing to sacrifice for the things you want become the sacrifice. If you're not willing to sacrifice for the things you want become the sacrifice, right? So you guys are tuning in to Talking Money in the Morning with your main man, H Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the working class, where I do my best to bring practical yet proven wealth building strategies to working class men and women all over this great nation of ours. And as always, guys, I truly count it an honor, privilege, and a blessing to be able to come to you guys each and every morning, speak from my heart, to allow you into listen to me lecture to myself, right? Because these are things, principles and strategies that I'm trying to ingrain in me. So when I'm talking, I'm talking to myself first and foremost. You guys just get to witness. Do me a huge favor. If you're checking this out on YouTube, then subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And then go ahead and grab the link and share it on your favorite social media platform, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, wherever you like to share things. Then share this link for me so we can help brighten the day of some others who may be looking for some positive information to start their day. And that's what I try to do, is keep it positive, like my man Terrence Hill, the most positive man in the universe, right? So please do that for me. And then if you're checking us out on Facebook, do the same thing. Share the stream, invite friends. If you know people who are in leadership positions and who are always a part trying to develop themselves personally, then definitely invite them personally to check out the stream. But then, of course, share the stream on your wall, because it allows for us, the more engagement you guys do with the show, the more Facebook says, hey, this must be something powerful, because people are always sharing it and commenting on it. So they'll push it out to more and more people, and we can bless the lives of others as well. And the same is true with those little hearts and thumbs up and the little mad faces and all that kind of stuff. Whatever, if I'm saying anything that resonates with you, when you do that, that lets Facebook know that this is a show that people like, and then that helps boost or build the authority. So today we're talking about the 5 pillars of leadership. We are on a 5-day series, which will actually be 6 days, because tomorrow we do Free Game Friday, so we won't do the 5th installment of this series. The 5th installment will roll over to Monday, but we will do all 5 parts. Today we're on part number 4, confidence and trust. Confidence and trust. So we're going to talk about how you can develop that in yourself and then how you can transfer that into your teammates. But before we do, let me first tell you exactly who this show is for. Just in case you stumbled upon the show on accident, I'd like to let you know exactly what you're in for, man. This show is for risers and grinders only. If you're a go-getter, this is your show. If you're ready to get up, get out, and get something this morning, this is your show. When you roll out of bed and you put those 2 feet on the floor and you're ready to make some things happen in your life, this is your show. This show is for people who understand the power of sacrifice, right? If you are the type of person that's willing to sacrifice today so you can have things tomorrow, this is your show. If you're like me, when I lay down at night, guys, and I'll tell you the honest to goodness truth, I'm always thinking about what am I going to be able to do tomorrow, next month, next year, next 5 years, to make sure that my great-great-great-grandchildren are proud to bear my name. Then this is your show. If you are a legacy builder, you think about building your legacy, you think about, you visualize, you envision, right? We talked about that yesterday. You see yourself successful. I see an oil painting of my wife and myself hanging up over the fireplace of all of my great-great-great-grandchildren. And they're able to look to that picture and say, we know struggle not because this guy, this gal was able to sacrifice so that we can all pursue our passions and our dreams. If that is you, my friend, this is your show. On the other hand, who is this show not for? This show is not for the pessimist. This show is not for the bump on the log. This show is not for the procrastinator. This show is not for those who are sitting back waiting on Donald Trump to fix the economy instead of focusing on their economy. This show is not for those who are unwilling to make the tough sacrifices to end the cycle of poverty in their family. If you're unwilling to make the tough sacrifices to overcome struggle in your family, this is not the show for you. This show is for winners only. Right? So if you're the type of person who has that weird relationship with money, this show ain't for you. And when I'm talking about that weird relationship with money, I'm talking about those who think money is evil, capitalism is a dirty word, wealthy people are jerks. When you think like that, then chances are you will never attract money, success, prosperity, peace, blessings into your life. You will always repel them away from you because you don't have the right relationship with resources. Right? All money is a resource. And when you have the right relationship with resources, you tend to attract them to you. Your subconscious mind will never allow you to become something you despise. If you despise wealthy people, then you will never become wealthy because that is counterproductive for your subconscious mind. If I can't stand wealthy people, why would I become something I can't stand? So understand having the right relationship with your resources, mainly money, mainly people that can bring or help you acquire resources, then that's going to aid you in overcoming financial distress and things of that nature. And like I tell you each and every morning, I don't have a problem with you not wanting to be wealthy. I only have a problem with you having a problem with me wanting to be wealthy. I can't get for the life of me why that rubs some people the wrong way. If you're happy and content with where you are, fine, God bless you. I'm just not there yet, right? So I'm striving for greater and greater things all the time, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So if you've never seen a future billionaire before, and yes, that is billion with a B, right? Because we talked about yesterday in passion and desire. If you don't have passion and desire, you can't make bold proclamations. You can't make decisions with boldness, right? That's a bold proclamation. I'm a future billionaire. I'm actually a current billionaire that's in the process of manifesting billions, right? If you've never seen one before, then take a screenshot and hold me to it. You can stand on the sideline, cheer against me or cheer for me. Makes me know, never mind. But my advice to you would be to get in the game with me, because there's not a single billionaire on the planet who has not created other billionaires, right? So today's sponsor of the show is Big Family Wealth Builders. Big Family Wealth Builders. This team husband and wife team of entrepreneur and wealth strategists can help put you on the road to financial success and stability if that is your aim. Go to bigfamilywealthbuilders.com, and that's big with 2 G's. I will always put it in the note description. But let Ariel and James help you understand how the money game really works, but more importantly, how you can play the money game to win. bigfamilywealthbuilders.com. One of my favorite couples and families on the planet. And as a matter of fact, if you were tuning into yesterday's show and you realized yesterday's sponsor was Mikey of Mikey's Munchies, well, guess whose parents are Mikey's, right? Big Family Wealth Builders, the whole family of entrepreneurs, man, doing their thing. So give a shout out to my sponsor. Go over to facebook.com/Big Family Wealth Builders. Give them a shout out. Say hello. Say, hey, I learned about you from the Financial Health Mentor and just wanted to drop by and see what your page was all about. Also, go check out their website at bigfamilywealthbuilders.com. So, today is the 5 Pillars of Leadership, Part 4, Confidence and Trust. Now, I don't know if you guys have been realizing the progression that we've been on as we get to Pillars 4 and 5, but there's a natural progression, and each one of these pillars builds on the next. Each one of these pillars builds on the next. So we talked about, yes, thank you, bigfamilywealthbuilders.com. There you go. Thank you, Pamela. So we talked about the 5 pillars of success, and each one of these pillars are building on the next pillar as well. So just to recap really quickly, pillar number 1 is crystallized thinking. That's where it all begins. If you are going to become an effective leader, then you have to understand how to crystallize your thinking. And as we talked about before, the first person you lead is yourself. The first person you lead is you. Right? So crystallizing your thinking helps you to lead yourself better, right? But you have to practice that. How do you crystallize your thinking? Go back to the show that we did on Monday, and I gave about 7 principles or 7 points on how to crystallize your thinking, right? Because when you can crystallize your thinking, then you can move to pillar number 2, planning and balance. Right? But you can't properly plan without the ability to be able to crystallize your thinking, because all a plan is crystallized thoughts on paper. It's crystallized thoughts on paper, right? But some people can't write an effective plan because they don't know how to crystallize their thinking. So when their thinking is all over the place, every time they sit and attempt to write down a plan, that plan is all over the place, which leads to frustration. And if you are not planning your life properly, and remember, life is synonymous with time, because all time is, or all life is time, right? All life is time. So if you can't properly plan, then you can't balance, right? Pillar number 2 is planning and balance. The purpose of planning is so that you can be balanced. Problem with so many of us, we are extremely good in 1 or 2 areas of our life, suffering in the other 4. We talked about 6 areas of life, right? And if you are not planning properly, then you're probably out of balance. If you're not out of balance, then you're not going to be able to roll through life smoothly, right? We talked about those 6 areas being spokes, and those 6 areas, those spokes, balancing out that wheel so that it rolls smoothly, right? And then we talked about pillar number 3, passion and desire. Well, guess where passion and desire comes from? It comes from crystallized thinking that you're able to put into a plan that you can use to create balance in your life, so that you can develop the passion and desire to overcome any obstacle that gets in your way that may hinder you or prevent you from reaching the goals that you have written down as your crystallized plan, right? So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about 5 pillars of leadership, how to become an effective leader, right? How are you going to become an effective leader if you cannot crystallize your thinking? You do not have the ability to write out a detailed plan. You do not have the ability to be balanced, right? All leaders are by default role models. So if you can't model a balanced life, then the people you're leading are not going to be able to see what a balanced life looks like. And when you can't see what a balanced life looks like, it's hard to develop that. And if you're out of balance, chances are the people you're leading out of balance, and it's going to lead to chaos eventually. It can cause an entire organization to crumble when you're out of balance, right? You can be extremely good in your family life, poor in your financial life, poor in your spiritual life, poor in with your physical health, right? That's out of balance. And you will not be as effective as you possibly can. You will not be as efficient as you possibly can if you're out of balance, right? But then all of that leads to passion and desire. Your passion and desire, we talked about yesterday, gives you the confidence to make proclamations with boldness, make decisions. It will cause you to have success easier, right? It will cause you to gain the respect of those that you're leading, those in the marketplace, those in your industry, those in your family, those in your society, right? Passion and desire will do that for you. Passion and desire will energize you to overcome the things that you struggle with, or overcome the obstacles that will find themselves in your way, right? And then pillar number 4 is confidence and trust. Well, guess what? All of the 3 pillars before that precede this will lead to an abundance of confidence and trust in yourself first and foremost, and then you learn how to transfer that confidence and trust into your teammates and into your organization. And now when they have confidence and trust in you as a leader, because you have confidence and trust in yourself as a leader, because you have passion and desire, because you understand how to plan and balance, because you know how to crystallize thinking, you should have no problem communicating your confidence and trust, and then transferring that confidence and trust into your team. So I got 5 points here on how to develop confidence and trust in yourself first and foremost. Because again, the first person you're leading is yourself. Before you can lead a team of people, you have to lead yourself. So number 1, you have to stay engaged in personal growth and self-development, right? Personal growth and self-development. When we talk about passion and desire, we talked about doing an internal assessment, knowing thyself, right? And because I know myself, I know I have to keep growing in the areas of time management and productivity. Because I know myself, I know I need to keep developing my skills as a leader. Because I know myself, I have to keep developing my positive mental attitude, right? So if you know yourself and you want to develop confidence and trust in yourself as a leader, then you must be on a solid personal growth and self-development plan continually. Because guess what? Even when I show up my leadership skills as I develop those and get better as a leader, I guarantee you, as I get better and implement those things as a leader that I'm learning from this book, The 5 Pillars of Leadership, I guarantee you they're going to shine a light on another weakness. So I'm going to have to get into development of that weakness. And when I strengthen up that weakness, it's going to shine a light on another weakness as long as I continue to do that internal assessment. See, we never, ever, ever, ever arrive. It's always about the journey. And it has only ever been about the journey. We never arrive. As long as you continue to grow and continue to learn, right? Erykah Badu said it best. The man who knows something knows he knows nothing at all. The more I learn, the more I discover that there's so much more to learn. The more I learn, the more I discover there's so much more to learn. So through my acquisition of knowledge, I've become infinitely more and more ignorant, right? But ignorant is not a bad thing. When you understand what ignorance truly is, all ignorance says is the understanding that you do not know. So the more I learn, the more ignorant I become. And it's that hunger that I have for ignorance that allows me to acquire knowledge. So when I get to the place where I learned something today about leadership, it shed a light on the things that I didn't know about how to become a better leader. Now I have to go and break down. I have to go and search out. I have to go and seek out to replace that ignorance with knowledge. So if you are not on a continual self-development and personal growth program, then you have to get on one immediately. Start doing that internal assessment as you're beginning to know yourself, understand where you're weak, and then start shoring up those weaknesses, right? We never arrive. We're always on the way. So keep growing personally, right? Number 2, you have to apply what you learn. This is probably the most difficult step for a lot of people. Ask me how I know? Because I was that guy for a long time who stacks of books, tapes, CDs, YouTube, just sucking up knowledge from everywhere I can find. But in my acquisition of knowledge, I wasn't applying the knowledge. Right? You guys have heard me say this before. My man Corey Briggs put a beautiful quote on his wall, and I stole it. Yeah, I stole it. It says, "You first empty your wallet to fill your mind, so that you can later empty your mind to fill your wallet." So guys, that's what I'm doing right now. So some of you guys have asked me, man, you know a little bit about a lot. And my girl Shan always says, you know just enough to be dangerous. You know just enough about a lot of stuff to be dangerous, right? Because I went through a phase where I was just a sponge. I was soaking up knowledge from all over the place. But I wasn't applying the knowledge, y'all. I wasn't applying it. That's why I'm reading this book over for the 3rd or 4th time, and I'm seeing stuff in here that I never saw before. Because as I told you yesterday, if 80% of the stuff I read in this book goes over my head the first time I read it, that's cool. Take the 20% that I actually were able to glean from it and apply the 20%. And then I reread the book again after the application of the 20%. Now, only 60% of it is going over my head. Because I've applied 20%. I was able to pick up another 40%. Now I apply the 40%. And the next time I read it, maybe only 20% goes over my head. Now I apply the other 80%. That's where growth happens. That's why I'm getting more out of this book than I ever have before, because I've grown so much since the last time I've read it. That's what this thing is about. Apply what you're learning. You guys hear me say all the time, learn, do, teach. I learn something, I do it, and then I teach it almost simultaneously, because it's in the teaching of something. If you ever want to know your understanding of a thing, try to teach it to somebody else. That's how you know you really got something. That's how you know you really understand the principles of something, is in your ability to teach it to somebody else. Right? So if you learn something and you start applying it, you might know it just enough for you to be able to get through it yourself in the application phase. But if you really want to get it in your knower, you really want to get it in your spirit, you really want to get it deep down in your soul, start teaching it to other people. Because when you're teaching, you are forced to have to break things down in a lot of different ways. So you're forced to regurgitate the information in so many different ways that you just keep putting it deeper and deeper and deeper in your spirit. So when I say something one way, it goes into my spirit. But because somebody may not understand it that way, I use a slightly different analogy to break it down even further. Now it goes into my spirit again. And then there's a crowd who it just may completely go over their head. Now I break it down to a 5th grade level and it goes into my spirit again. So that's why I do this show. So as I'm learning things, I'm doing things, I'm teaching them so that it gets into my spirit even better. Right? You guys may have heard me talk about how when you first bring something into your mind, it gets organized and categorized on your hard drive. But your hard drive has a limited amount of space. So I need to get it off of my hard drive and into the cloud where there is no limit to the amount of space. The way you get it into the cloud is by teaching others. Right? So I put it out into the universe and help it get into other people's hard drives. And by default, and now it's in my cloud permanently. So now whenever I need it, it's not in my hard drive, but I can retrieve it from my cloud. It keeps my hard drive open so I can continue to bring more information in and get it embedded in me and then put it into my hard drive, into my cloud. Some of you guys can't learn new things because your hard drive is completely packed, right? You've used 999 gigabytes of your terabyte because you hoard the information and you never teach it or pour it out to others. So now it's just stored and stuffed and packed on your hard drive. Start teaching what you know, and that gets it out of your hard drive and into the cloud. And when I'm talking about your cloud, into your spirit, into your universe, right? So when you need things, I don't have to consciously think and remember on things. I just keep moving through life, and as things occur or things happen in my life, and I need one of those bits of data, I can extract it from the cloud. In fact, I don't even have to extract it consciously. Subconsciously, the universe says, you're going down this direction, you're going to need this tool, you're going to need this bit of wisdom to get you through. So start teaching as you're applying. Number 3, when you learn, when you do, and when you apply, then I want you to analyze the results, right? Analyze the results, but analyze the results with positive mental attitude. See, sometimes we will analyze the results with a negative attitude, and that's that negative attitude that will prevent us from doing any further action. Right? We'll try something one time, it doesn't go well, and we say, man, that sucked. Oh man, that came out horrible. Oh man, that was terrible. And because that's the way we think about the results, we never make a second, third, fourth, fifth attempt so that we can get better at it, so that we can get better results. So every time you try something and attempt it, I want you to analyze the results with a positive mental attitude. What I mean by that is I want you to take a look at it and don't focus on the negative, or don't focus on the things that weren't just so successful. Focus on the 1 or 2 things that did go well. Even if those 1 or 2 things are just the fact that you actually did it and completed it. Right? Sometimes I do things and it goes so horribly bad. The only thing I can glean from that is that, hey, I had that on my to-do list. I did it. It didn't go as well, but at least I took action on it. So I'm focused on it, on the positive, and that may be the only positive thing. I may have been seeking to get 10 positive results and only got 1. I don't focus on the 9 negative. I focus on the 1 thing that went well and say, hey man, I got that thing off my list. Here's my results. Here's the things that I did well. Here's the things I could have done better. So next time I do it, I'm going to focus more on this, and then I'm going to try these 9 things that didn't go so well. I'm going to try them differently and see if I can get better results. Because it's when you focus on the negative is when you tend to shut down, right? When you focus on the negative, you tend to shut down. So instead of saying, man, that went well, I just can't do this. Say, man, I'm glad I got that thing completed. I didn't get the results that I want. Here are the couple positive results that I did get. And then you ask yourself this question: how could I get better results next time? See, you're already affirming that there's going to be a next time. You're already affirming that you're going to get better results when you try it the next time. You've already put into your spirit the things that went well, and you know you're going to do more of those. How can I get better results next time? I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to quit. I'm going to pursue. I'm going to persevere. I'm going to overcome. I'm going to persist. How do I get better next time? So we're talking about the 5 pillars of leadership, developing confidence and trust in yourself as a leader first and foremost. You are the first person you have to lead. And if you don't have confidence and trust in your ability to lead, no one else will. Right? How do you develop confidence and trust? Number 1, you put yourself on a continual personal growth and self-development plan. 2, apply what you know. Apply what you know. 3, analyze the results of the application of that knowledge, but analyze them from a positive lens. Right? A positive lens. I'm not saying that you discount the failures. I'm saying you focus on the things that went right as you were failing, so you can do more of those and less of the things that didn't go so right. Right? Positive analysis of the action taken will help you to create better habits. Right? Positive analysis of the results of the action taken will help you create better habits. Because if you keep doing something and you keep getting 1 or 2 positive results, then you're going to keep doing the 1 or 2 things that you got the good results from. And that's going to create better habits. Right? Almost all daily activities are done from habit. And the reason you're not having success, if you're not, or the reason you're not becoming the best leader that you can be, is because you have some bad habits. And the reason you have bad habits is because every time you make an attempt to establish some new values, some new habits, some new things in life, you take some action, you don't get the results that you get, and you spend too much time focusing on the negative results and not enough time focusing on the positive results. So the positive results don't get reinforced as habits. Right? And you have to start developing good habits, because if 80% of day-to-day activity is habit driven, then if you have bad habits, then 80% of the stuff that you do are because of bad habits, meaning you're going to get bad results. So you got to switch that around. But you can't switch that around if you focus solely on the negative after you take action from the learning phase. That creation of the new habits will create new character traits. Right? So that's number 5. Allow the new habits to build new character traits. We talked about yesterday that you have to become before you can do and have. You have to become before you can do and have. You don't become unless you establish new characteristics. You don't establish new characteristics without new habits. You don't pick up new habits without learning something new and applying what you learn. This is how you become, so you can do, so you can have the things that the person you have become are capable of having. You have to create new character traits that comes from habits. The habits come from the actions and the proper analysis of those actions. Those actions come from the new learning, right? What are you putting into your head that is new all of the time, right? Read more, get up earlier, self-analysis daily. That's how to establish new habits. Do it 21 to 24 days in a row, and it becomes habitual, right? So, 5 things that you can do to develop confidence and trust in yourself as a leader, and then I got 4 points on how to transfer that confidence and trust into your team, right? 5 steps, 5 things that you can do to develop confidence and trust in yourself, and then 4 ways that you can start to transfer that confidence and trust into others. Number 1, the first, just a recap of the 5 things. Keep learning, guys. Keep learning. And if you guys heard me talk about this yesterday, don't just keep learning in one area. There's 6 areas of your life that you should be continually growing and developing in. Keep learning and growing and develop in multiple areas of your life, right? Personal growth and self-development are things that people tend to shun from. Man, that Tony Robbins, man, that Les Brown stuff, man, I ain't got time for that. Right? That John Maxwell, man, that W. Clement Stone, that Napoleon Hill stuff, man, I ain't got time for that. All right? You ain't got time for that. If you ain't got time for that, then you don't got time to become. Because everybody who is a success at any level has all of those or some of those or people like that in their corner that has helped them get to that level. Everybody that is successful at any level engages in heavy doses of personal growth and self-development regularly. And then as you start to study personal growth and self-development, apply what you learn. Number 1, keep learning. Number 2, apply what you learn. Apply what you learn. Number 3, analyze the results from the application of the new knowledge. But look at those results through a positive lens. It is so easy to assess failure. Why? Because school has taught us that we look at the failures. So when you were in school and you turned in your paper and your teacher graded that paper and gave that paper back, what is the first thing you looked at on that paper? Did you look at the checks or did you look at the X's? Most of us looked at the red X's. And we got 20 problems and we got 3 wrong, and we focused on the 3 wrong instead of saying, I got 17 right. I got 17 right, and allow that to build your self-confidence and your belief. But no, we look at the 1, 2, 3 checks that we got wrong, and it's like, man, I got 3 wrong. And we harp and we bust over there, we go study, we look at those 3 that we got wrong, and that creates a negative or creates a focus on negativity solely instead of focusing on the positive things. Did we want 100%? Sure we did. Sure we did. But the focus is I'm 80%, I'm 97% good and 3% bad. But we will take 90% of our time focusing on 3% bad instead of taking 90% of our time and focusing on the 97% good. So you got to analyze the results with positive mental attitude. Number 4, allow those actions to become habits. Right? Allow those actions to become habits. That means you have to do them for 24 straight days for them to become habits. We are a sum total of our habits. 80% of day-to-day activity comes from habit. So if you have poor habits, then you're going to get poor results consistently. So you have to change your habits. And number 5, allow those habits to build new character traits. You have to become before you can do, before you can have. See, I've become a billionaire already. I've already become a billionaire. Now it's a matter of me doing the things that the billionaires do so that I can have what billionaires have. Some of you guys want to have what billionaires have without first becoming a billionaire and doing the things that billionaires do. That's why I got all these books laying around. Billionaires read 5 books a month. I got to figure out how to incorporate time enough to read 5 books a month. And that's going to take a lot of time because I read slow, right? But since I know myself, then I know I have to allocate more time than the average person to get my 5 books a month read. You have to become so that you can do, so that you can have. And new character traits allows you to become. Right? Now, really quickly, how do we transfer our confidence and trust that we have in ourselves as leaders? How do we transfer that into to the team? Because that is paramount if you're a leader. Your team, if they don't have confidence and trust in your abilities, they're not going to follow you. They're not going to follow you long at all. Right? I'm a youth basketball coach, and I watch basketball all the time. I watch coaches, and one of the first things you can notice when the kids are playing on the court and the coaches are coaching, you can tell those teams who have complete confidence and trust in their coaching staff versus those who don't. You can always tell, right? So how do I transfer my confidence? First of all, I have to do these 5 things for me first. Then I can do them for my team. The first person you lead is you. So I have to do them for me first, then my team, right? So the first way that you can build confidence and or transfer your confidence and trust into those who you lead, you have to build relationships. You have to build relationships. You have to get to know your team. You have to get to know their values, right? So that brings me to my excerpt of the day, still from the same book, 5 Pillars of Leadership, right? So the excerpt for today says, it is difficult, if not impossible, to change someone's attitudes without first restructuring the values that are essential building blocks of those new attitudes. It is difficult, if not impossible, to change someone's attitudes without first restructuring the values that are essential building blocks of those new attitudes. Sugar. My sugar trying to get out of here without giving me my sugar. They don't help her, ladies. No, I'm not. Come on. Come on. Give me my sugar. All right, babe. And see, we have a ritual when she's up before I do the show or after I do the show. I have to give her a really big hug. And I'm gonna just say this. This is funny. If you don't hug, right? If you don't hug, what hugging do is it releases a chemical in your body called oxytocin. Oxytocin is a natural stress reliever, right? And she is yet to leave her job, so she's going to go into a stressful environment. So I like to hug her for about 30 seconds before she leaves every morning, because that's going to release an abundance of oxytocin in her system. So now when she goes into stressful environments, it's going to actually help to relieve some of that stress. So she gave me my sugar, but I didn't get to hug her to release the oxytocin in her. But we were just talking about values, right? So the excerpt of today, it is difficult, if not impossible, to change someone's attitudes without first restructuring the values that are essential. So when you're transferring your confidence and trust into someone else, you have to first have a relationship with them, and you have to know their values. You have to know their values, because sometimes transferring your confidence and belief, they may have some, your confidence and trust, they may have some values and some beliefs about you that may need to be restructured. But if you're not building relationships with your team, then it's difficult for you to transfer your confidence and trust onto them. So get to know your team, right? Number 2, speak life into them and build them up at every chance, especially publicly. Number 2. So number 1, build relationships. Get to know your teams. Get to know what they value. That's important. Because sometimes in order for them to be the best you need them to be within your organization, you may have to restructure some of those values. But how can you restructure them if you don't know what they are? Number 2, speak life into them at every opportunity that you get, especially publicly. Publicly. There's nothing like being in front of a room full of people and you edify your team. You edify the leaders on your team. You speak highly of their potential, of their ability. You praise them for a job well done. If you're going to transfer confidence and trust in somebody, man, you start telling them how much you believe in them, how grateful you are for being a part of the team, how grateful you are for the things that they've done for you, and how they're bringing value to you, how they're making things easier for you. You start in front of people who matter. Talk about their potential, where they're going, their hard work, their attitude, their confidence, their commitment to the process. You start to transfer confidence. That says to me, when somebody does that about me, that says to me that person has an extreme amount of confidence in me. That person trusts in me and my abilities. So you do that at every opportunity. Sometimes we think it's overkill. There's no such thing as overkill. No such thing as overkill. It's like saying I can tell my wife I love her too much, too many times. I can't say it enough. There's no such thing as overkill. Right? So at every opportunity you get, you speak life and build them up. Number 3, allow them to fail. But when you allow them to fail without resentment. Allow them to fail without resentment. You're going to give your teammates some tasks. You're going to give them some call to action. You're going to give them some assignments. And they're going to blow some of them. They're going to blow some of them. You have to allow them to fail without resentment. Without resentment, meaning if they mess something up, you have to pick them up, dust them off, and keep it moving without saying, man, I knew I shouldn't have allowed you to do that. Man, I knew I should have done it. Man, you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. You got to allow them to fail without resentment. Right? Give them small tasks and that you know that they're going to win at, and you keep systematically giving them tasks where they're going to be able to use their skills, their abilities, and you allow them to fail without resentment. And when I say allow them to fail, I mean give them the task and give it to them fully. Sometimes, how many of you guys have ever been on a job and you've been given an assignment, and then your manager or your boss stand over your shoulder while you're trying to do the assignment? It's like, Jigga, would you give me some space? Please, back up off me, right? So when you give someone an assignment, If you are a good leader, you have crystallized your thinking. You are good with writing down a crystallized plan, so you can give somebody a crystallized plan and allow them to do the assignment fully, and then allow them to fail without resentment if they can't pull it off. Because it is only in failure do we learn the most. See, you don't learn hardly anything from your successes. But I can take a failure and I can be learning lessons from a failure that I had 20 years ago. I could still be pulling lessons out of that thing right now today. How many lessons can you pull out of a victory? Not many, right? So allow your team to fail without resentment. Don't beat them up because they fail, they stumble. This is where you go in and further transfer confidence and belief and trust, because after they fail, then you're going to help them pull out the lesson. Say, hey, I knew you could do it. We hit a snafu, but here's how we recover, and I'm going to let you be instrumental in the recovery process. I'm not going to take this from you because you failed at it. You're going to help fix it too, because you got the right skill set, you got the right attitude, you got the right belief, you understand the stuff better than you think you do. Let me just help shape you and mold you a little bit, and we're just going to work on this thing together, and we're going to pull the lessons out of it. So next time, because guess what? There's going to be a next time. You're going to get another assignment, and I'm going to trust that you can pull that off. So let's get everything that we can get out of it, all the lessons that we can get out of it, and build you up and make you better, bolder, so that you can continue to bring value to this organization. This organization, right? And that further, you think you talk about praising somebody when they do something good? You really want to instill confidence and trust in somebody? Get on the ground floor with them when they fall. And don't stand up high and pick them up, lay down with them and say, hey, let's get up together. That's next level leadership right there. That's not pointing the finger at you failed, you caused us to not hit our goal. No. Get on the floor with them and y'all get up together. That's how you transfer confidence and trust. Finally, allow them to think for themselves. Allow them to think for themselves, and then take it one step further. As they begin to think for themselves, you incorporate some of their ideas. So that's letting them know that they're really a part of this thing, right? And if you want to take it one step further, allow them to think for themselves. You incorporate some of their ideas in the master plan, and then you break off a compartment of the master plan and say, yes, that's a great idea. Why don't you take that and you run with that? And you build out a plan, and you pull a team together, and you take that and you run with that. That's how you transfer trust and confidence into the hearts and minds of those that follow you. Do this for yourself first and foremost, because the first person that you lead is you. Right? The first person you lead is you. So you got to be doing this for yourself first and foremost. Building up and instilling the confidence and trust in yourself as a leader. Some of you guys are leaders and don't know you're leaders. And you get around other people and you just go right into follow mode, right? If you're a parent, you're a leader. Without even thinking about it. You lead a household, but then you get around a group of people and you act like you don't have any leadership skills because you haven't read a particular book. A lot of us, this stuff is innate, it's in us, right? Just got to bring it out of you. So let me recap really quickly, and then we're going to get out of here for today. We talked about 5 things that can help you develop your leadership skill, help you develop confidence and trust, right? Continual learning, keep learning. Personal growth and self-development is key. Apply what you learn. The most powerful form of knowledge is applied knowledge. All right, they say knowledge is power. Not if you don't apply it. Not if you don't do anything with it. Keep learning. Personal growth and self-development is key. Apply what you learn. Analyze the results of the action that you took, but analyze it through with a positive mental attitude, right? And then that positive analysis will cause you to create new habits based on the action that you're taking, right? Habits are important because 80% of day-to-day activity comes from our habits, right? Then you allow those new habits to form new character traits, new characteristics, right? You become so that you can do in order to have. You become the person that you need to become to do the things that you need to do to have what you want, right? Those are the 5 things to help you develop confidence and trust in yourself. And as you build your confidence and trust in yourself, you want to be able to transfer that confidence and trust to your teammates. Build relationships. You got to get to know your team. Get to know their values, because you may have to reconstruct some of their values as you're transferring confidence and trust onto them, right? Once you get to know them, start speaking life into them. When you speak life into somebody, then they will start to like you, right? Not just allow you to lead them, but they will actually like you, because who doesn't want to be around somebody who's always lifting them up, right? Speak life into them. Allow them to fail. When you give them tasks, allow them to stumble, allow them to fail. But when they do fail, don't stand up high and look down and pick them up. Get down on the floor with them and help them pick up the pieces. Right? And then last but not least, allow them to think for themselves. Incorporate their ideas into the grand master plan, and even break out some compartments of the grand master plan and let them run with it. So you're telling them that, hey, yes, I am the leader, but you are a leader within this thing. So I'm going to give you some little bit some tasks that you can lead. You pull a team together and you start practicing your leadership skills too. So with that, guys, that wraps it up for the show for today. Another shout out for my sponsor, Big Family Wealth Builders. Big Family Wealth Builders. This husband and wife team knows a little bit about helping you build wealth, entrepreneurship, because they are the parents of Mikey, of Mikey's Munchies, who is the 9-year-old who has 5 vending machines in his vending machine business already. So dynamic family, go to Big Family Wealth Builders. That's big with 2 G's, familywealthbuilders.com, or go over to their fan page, Big Family Wealth Builders, on Facebook. So I'm your man, H Cortez, financial health mentor to the working class. Until I talk to you guys tomorrow, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. Peace out.